Hello and welcome to the end of 2023 on the Gregorian calendar that the United States follow. There are other places in the world that also follow the same calendar. However, on the Jewish calendar, their new year started back in September. So we are going to close out this year of 2023 and we're going to start a new year in January according to the calendar that we follow. And with that being said, as we close out, I want to bring to your attention that if God confirmed purpose in your life, stay focused. And I'm coming from the book of Judges, chapter 13. It starts off and lets us know, again, the Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight. So the Lord handed them over to the Philistines, who oppressed them for 40 years. In those days, a man named Manoah from the tribe of Dan lived in the town of Zorah. His wife was unable to become pregnant, and they had no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and said, I'm going to stop right there. This is interesting. The angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife and said, even though you have been unable to have children, you will soon become pregnant and give birth to a son. God was very specific, as you can see. He told her that although she was barren, she was going to give birth to a son. All right? So God gave her a word, and he did confirm it. What she had to do after that was to stay focused. And it goes on to say in verse 4, so be careful. You must not drink wine or any other alcoholic drink, nor eat any forbidden food. Now, with this context here, it gives us understanding that there was a time where it was okay to eat forbidden foods. But we don't have the background information here. We know that God made it clear there were certain foods that man was not to eat. There were some that they could eat. But for him to specify to her not to eat forbidden food, it tells us, again, it highlights a snippet to say, okay, there were some allowances at certain times. However, but because she was going to become pregnant, once she actually became pregnant, she was forbidden to do that. Or to even have an alcoholic drink. Verse 5 says, you will become pregnant and give birth to a son, and his hair must never be cut, for he will be dedicated to God as a Nazirite from birth. He will begin to rescue Israel from the Philistines. This is powerful. This promise was a child that was going to come and rescue the Israelites from the Philistines. This is so powerful. They were in bondage or oppressed for 40 years. But God had a plan in place. See, sometimes you can look at your situation or just look at what's going on in the world, and it can be distracting. But if God gave you a specific word and confirmed it, stay focused. Moving forward, it says here in verse 6, the woman ran and told her husband, a man of God appeared to me. And she didn't know it was an angel of the Lord because she said a man of God appealed to her. And of course, someone coming to her in that nature and talking to her on behalf of God, it is so easy to assume it was a man of God. So that definitely makes sense why she said it in that way. Now, we know that there are people who can appear as a person of the Lord, but this lady pretty much knew her spirit, obviously, that she had really come across a man of God. She said he looked like one of God's angels, terrifying to see. Good gracious, that's powerful. I didn't ask where he was from, and he didn't tell me his name, but he told me, you will become pregnant and give birth to a son. You must not drink wine or any other alcoholic drink, nor eat any forbidden food, for your son will be dedicated to God as a Nazirite from the moment of his birth until the day of his death. Now, I would encourage you to study the Nazirite um, law, because that in itself was a specific lifestyle set aside for a period of time. Now, all were born to follow a Nazarite life unto death, but there were those who wanted to follow a Nazarite um, law, and they did it for seasons. Some did it for seasons actually, where they would set themselves aside or apart as a type of consecration. But it was again for a season, and then they returned back to their Loma lifestyle after they have fulfilled that particular commitment to God. All right, so just so you understand, in this particular context, this was not to be something that was a temporary lifestyle for this gentleman. It was his life. The Lord wanted him to live this way from the beginning of his life until the Lord took him. Okay? I'm going to read that last part again. It says, "For your son will be dedicated to God as a Nazirite from the moment of his birth until the day of his death." God already knew his plan for this gentleman, and what God wanted him to do was stay focused. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord, saying, "Lord, please let the man of God come back to us again and give us more instructions about this son who is to be born." This is interesting because even though his wife gave him that report, he wanted it to be confirmed. He wanted to hear it for himself. So, the 9th verse says, "God answered Manoah's prayer, and the angel of God appeared once again to his wife." Isn't it interesting? He didn't appear to Manoah, but to his wife a second time. And it goes on, "as she was sitting in the field. But her husband, Manoah, was not with her. So she quickly ran and told her husband, 'The man who appeared to me the other day is here again.' Manoah ran back with his wife and asked, 'Are you the man who spoke to my wife the other day?' 'Yes,' he replied, 'I am.' So Manoah asked him, 'When your words come true, what kind of rules should govern the boy's life and work?' The angel of the Lord replied, 'Be sure your wife follows the instructions I gave her.'" Stay focused, right? That's what this is talking about. Stay focused. God confirmed it. Stay focused. "She must not eat grapes or raisins, drink wine or any other alcoholic drink, or eat any forbidden food." Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please stay here until we can prepare a young goat for you to eat." "I will stay," the angel of the Lord replied, "but I will not eat anything. However, you may prepare a burnt offering as a sacrifice to the Lord." Manoah didn't realize it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah asked the angel of the Lord, "What is your name? For when all this comes true, we want to honor you." "Why do you ask my name?" the angel of the Lord replied. "It is too wonderful for you to understand." Then Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered it on a rock as a sacrifice to the Lord. And as Manoah and his wife watched, the Lord did an amazing thing. As the flames from the altar shot up toward the sky, the angel of the Lord ascended in the fire. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell with their faces to the ground. The angel did not appear again to Manoah and his wife. Manoah finally realized it was the angel of the Lord, and he said to his wife, "We will certainly die, for we have seen God." But his wife said, "If the Lord were going to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted our burnt offering and grain offering. He wouldn't have appeared to us and told us this wonderful thing and done these miracles." When her son was born, she named him Samson, and the Lord blessed him as he grew up. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him while he lived in Mahane Dan, which is located between the towns of Zorah and Eshtaol. Well, I hope these words have found you in a good place. And if the Lord has confirmed anything to you, stay focused. And until the next time you sit with me, God bless you. Enjoy your tea.